All right, we're back with breaking news in the world lead. Hackers believed to be working with Russian intelligence apparently hacked the New York Times and other U.S. media outlets. And according to U.S. officials briefed on the matter, this was not a one-time deal. The FBI and other security agencies are investigating a series of cyber breaches specifically targeting journalists. CNN Justice correspondent Evan Perez joins us now with a first on CNN. Evan, we hear this, we know about the recent hacks in the Democratic Party organizations. Your contacts say this is related?
That's right, John. The U.S. investigators think that this is part of a broader wave of cyber attacks by Russian intelligence. And the question is why? We're used to seeing state-sponsored hacks of government systems. That's what spies do. What officials think the Russians are doing here is targeting any organization with a window into the U.S. political system. Now, that includes think tanks and now reporters. The FBI is working with private security companies to investigate these intrusions targeting the New York Times reporters and journalists for other outlets. Now, the concern here is that Russian spies have obtained not only information about who reporters are talking to in the government, but also details of their communications and perhaps even stories that haven't yet been published. The New York Times declined to comment on any possible breach, but it did say that it generally works with outside investigators and law enforcement to try to defend against hackers. Now, there's some debate inside the Obama administration about what to do about all of this. Some officials want to name and shame the Russians, and others are concerned about the possible escalation of what's already an undeclared cyber war. And that's not just my language, John, but also the language of the head of the Director of National Intelligence, who says that's exactly what's happening here.
A cyber war. All right, Evan Perez, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Want to bring in Hemu Nigam. He is a former computer crimes prosecutor who worked for the Department of Justice. And Hemu, I think it's scary to say this, but you're not surprised by this news.
I'm actually not surprised at all, and I don't think any of us should be surprised by this news. Although I will tell you, because it is election season, I'm actually more surprised that people haven't noticed that this was going to happen during an election season, especially at a time when if you read the news, whether it's New York Times or other outlets, there's a clear demarcation between Donald Trump being aligned with the Russians and Hillary Clinton being seen as anti-Russian.
So then, if this is Russian hackers, as is our reporting, what are they trying to do here? Are they trying to just get information, or are they trying to influence something?
Well, your reporter was mentioning that one of the things that happens with the news sources, news outlets, is they have amazingly high-level access to very important people in the government, whether they're a source or they're an on-the-record individual. And the Russians, if it is them, or it could be the Chinese, it could be anyone, whoever it is who may be a enemy nation state is looking at it and saying, well, let's go find out what they're really saying, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats win. When the time comes to sit across a diplomatic table, we will already know the thoughts and the thinking and the analysis that has gone into this particular group of individuals we're sitting across the table from. And that can be very useful in other types of negotiations, whether it's related to some type of war, supporting an ally, creating some sort of treaty. All sorts of things can be garnered from this information.
So the theory is the Russians want to know things. They know reporters know things, so they go after the reporters who do know these things. Is it just the Russians who do this? Any other actors out there?
No, I would actually expect every actor who's a digitally savvy actor, and I would actually even put, as much as we don't like to say it, the United States government in this same bucket, which is they need to know what's coming at them from other parts of the country, especially when there's sensitive issues being discussed. We've actually seen that disclosed in the past with the NSA and the CIA, and even with allies, we've seen it happen with the U.S. government being identified as doing it. So I would actually look at this and say, hey, it's not only the Russians, it's the U.S., it's other foreign governments and agencies. This is the digital Cold War. People like to say there's no more Cold War. The reality is it's a silent digital Cold War until somebody says, I think I got hacked, and an investigation happens.
All right, Hemu Nigam, I'm going to go change my password. Thanks so much.